Hello, everyone, and thank you for hanging out once again on the Comic Book Community Shout Out Show. We're going to have a great day, guys. Man, we got more shout outs to give out there to a bunch of great content, great small channels that are reaching 500, channels that are on the road to 200, 100, 1K, bunch of stuff going on out there in the comic book community world. And not only that, guys, man, we're going to have a very special guest in the house. It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be awesome. This is a thing in the making. I have to give a quick shout out to Just Little Podcast Cookie. He said, yo, Rod, man, you got to bring this homie to your show. And I said, who is it? He sent me all the info. And we've been talking back and forth for a week or so, maybe a little longer than that. And we're gonna have a good time. There's so many things to talk about, so many topics to talk. I mean, I don't even know, man. I'm just hyped. I'm just so excited. And whenever I do a live show, I'm always happy to hang out with the comic book community. And right now, let me pull this up here real quick. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat, man. Thank you so much for hanging out. We got right now 1-2 Comic Talk. What is going on? I want to try to show this real quick here. 1-2 Comic Talk. And we got, of course, Ruben Guzman in the house. What's going on, Ruben? Congratulations on your winnings. I got the box right in front of me, or right behind me, should I say, man. And of course, we got a very good supporter in the comic book community. We got Rob Boswell. What's going on, Rob? What's going on? And of course, right now, we can't leave out Backseat Driver. What is going on, Backseat? How are you doing? Hope everyone's doing fine during these Corona quarantine days, man. I hope you guys are doing well. Be safe, guys. Be safe. 1-2 Comic Talk. I already mentioned you. And right now, in the chat, Northgarden Comics. What's going on, man? Thank you for hanging out on the show today. Once again, this is episode 61. 61 weeks, man. 61 weeks of doing the show. I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for hanging out. The super chat is open. If you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do that. That is totally up to you. And of course, man, yo, Magic Lasso. Magic Lasso is everywhere, man. And I have to give, I got to give Magic Lasso and Backseat. Well, Magic Lasso got a blue wrench. I think Backseat Driver needs a blue wrench. And you know what, Magic Backseat Driver? You're a moderator now, man. You're in the house, man. You're a cool homie. You support the comic book community, and everyone in the house support the comic book community. So there it is, man. A blue wrench for the homie. All right. You know how we do the show, guys, man. You know how we do the show. We got about 5 shout outs to give out. There's a bonus one I want to shout out real quick. Actually, it's more of a how should I say? It's an Instagram shout out. He reached out to me, and he goes by the name of Comic Book for Dummies on IG. Comic Book for Dummies on IG, and he sent me a message, and I'm trying to find it on my phone real quick here. Here it is, and he was asking me to give him a shout out because he's doing an auction this May 6th at 8:00 p.m. So check it out right now. Comic Books for Dummies. Check him out right now. He's going to be doing an auction, and I believe that is either Monday or Tuesday, something like that. May 6th, 8:00. And if you want to buy some books, check out his auction. And you know, you got to support each other during these times, man. Support them. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I got one shout out I need to give out right now, and a bunch of people in the house, man. Thank you, God. We got Kachung in the house. What's going on, Kachung? You guys don't want to go away, man. When our special guests come on the house, we're gonna rock out. We're gonna talk a little bit about everything, a little bit of everything. All right, and let's see who else, man. Superhero review, man. Superior hero reviews, man. There it is. You know what I'm saying. The dorks in the house, man. Thank you for hanging out. Yo, stay puffed. Yo, Sean, what's going on, man? What's going on, Sean? And Two Gun Pedro. Pew pew. What's up, bro? Thank you for hanging out. So let's kick it off right now, like we do every Sunday. We got to give out a shout out. A shout out, man. At number 1, we got A1 Comics at 97 subscribers right now. On Instagram, you can find this channel right now. Everyone's description or the links or in the description below is what I'm trying to tell you guys. All right, so A1 is a full-service comic gaming collectible store from Sacramento, man, with over 3 decades in the business. So I sent them a message on Instagram. I said, yo, how's your business going on out there, man? Sacramento. He said everything is there. We're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. Everyone is hanging in there doing this rough times. And I said, I want to give you a shout out. He said, thank you so much. But not only that, you know, we got to help each other, man, because he does live shows on Instagram selling nice comic books. And not only that, guys, that's his one of his main sources of, you know, some kind of money and going to himself. But he has a video he just dropped on YouTube, all right, about some mystery boxes, man. Mystery boxes support the comic book community. You can check that out right now on his channel, A1 Comics on YouTube. 97 subscribers. Let's get him to 100, and let's check out his stuff. Buy some boxes. Help him out during these rough times, man. I know a lot of people going through this rough times, and this is what we gotta do, man. We gotta support each other and spread the word. Share the links and hit that like and subscribe, man. That's all we can do right now. Yo, I can't hold this guy in the background forever because we got plenty of things to talk about. All right, we have right now. I'm excited because his video he put on IG, man. He got his box. He showed off his little room, all these posters. We got right now Jason D. Douglas from Source Point Press. Here it is, man. We got plenty of things to talk about. What's going on, my brother Jason?
How are you, sir? It is so good to talk to you today. Right out of the gate, can I tell you how jealous I am of your hat game right now? Because I am sporting this quarantine hair, and it's getting a little unruly. And if I had a hat like that, I don't think anybody would have to look at this nonsense that I've got on top of my my giant head right now.
Do it, yo! Your hair is epic. It's on point. Yo, that is a beautiful thing. I saw my wife; she was trimming her bangs in the bathroom because she wants her hair done. I was like, "All right, babe, you need me?" She's like, "No, wait." She's like using the small little trimmer scissors. I was like, "All right, well, how about these?" And she's like, "These are a little better," but oh man.
Yeah, I'm about a month overdue here, and the gray's coming out on the side, and this is just whatever. Just gonna let it go. Just gonna let it happen, right?
Yeah, man. You just let it be, man. Let it be. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm having the same issues, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is growing in. It's hard to adapt to and control this. It really is, dude. It really is. I gotta hear. This is bad.
You look good. You look good. You look good.
Oh man, your hair looks better than mine. I'm just.
Well, but right now, man.
Oh man, thank you for jumping on the show, man. This is Jason Douglas. He is a writer of his freaking book, man. He just got in the mail. We're gonna talk about that in a few minutes, and I'm not gonna spoil it. I didn't. I know you sent me a digital copy. I did not read it. I'll be completely honest. I want to buy it. I want that book in my hand, and then I want to sit back and relax and read it. And I want you to tell the people about that book in a few minutes. Let me see here. Before we keep going on, I'm going to say hello to the chat to a few more people, guys. There he is, man. Just a little podcast. What's going on? Just a little podcast. Thank you for hanging out. Z Collect in the house. Hello, sir. Thank you for hanging out with us right now. And let's see who else. And that is it at the moment right now. So, yo, Jason, man, tell me, man, how you got into the whole comic book stuff, man? Before we start talking about your main thing.
Well, as a collector, right, as a reader of comics, I got started as a kid, just like a lot of us, right? I went to, I was kind of at a disadvantage. I think I came to it a little bit late, right? I didn't have the older sibling. I didn't have the cool kid in the neighborhood who told me like what I should be watching, listening, and reading to. So I kind of came to stuff on my own time, and a little bit of Batman, a little bit of Spider-Man early on, right? And then I am of a certain age where I became right at the. So three things were happening at once, right? There was the enhanced cover explosion that Marvel and DC, but mostly Marvel, was in charge of, right? The foil covers, the die cut covers, right? Right at the moment that was happening, and the big event things like Batman and Superman dying and Batman breaking his back with Bane, the image explosion happened. And while I appreciated all that stuff, at the exact same time in those early '90s, the Valiant universe happened, and that was my jam. And just a couple years into my reading and collecting, I was spending every dollar I earned mowing lawns or babysitting or whatever, and getting on my bike and riding downtown to my local comic shop. And my pull list was like every single Valiant book, right? Slightly more realistically drawn. A lot of great Barry Windsor Smith art in those early years. Written, I love the writing and that shared universe, but it wasn't as expansive as Marvel, and I just ate it up. I loved it. So like Valiant was my jam early on, and that's kind of where I got my start in loving comics, like as an art form. And then from there, I actually pretty early on, before I took that like kind of almost cliched like 9-year break, you're like a late teens or whatever, and you're like, I'm leaving this behind. And before I came back into comic shops, I really started to love a few writers and artists, and started following them. And in fact, check this out, the only two comics that followed me through my 9-year hiatus from comics, the only things that I read consistently over that almost decade was Neil Gaiman's Sandman and then Art Spiegelman's Mouse. So like some pretty intense and eclectic and powerful storytelling. And in fact, it was Neil Gaiman coming back to Marvel Comics like in 2004-ish for that really cool 1602 miniseries. Brought me back into comic shops, and I haven't left ever since.
Wow, that's pretty dope, man. Man, my lighting. I gotta fix this light because it looks like I got someone strangling me around my neck right here. Let me get this light here. 1 second, man. Let's see here if I move this back a little bit here. It's a little better, man. But anyways, yo, man, that's pretty dope, man. How you got into comic books and things of that nature, man. I remember going to my LCS long time ago, and just hanging out with a bunch of the homies. We would go to the shop, and man, me and my brother had $5, and we just split that in between both of us and buy two comics here, 2 comics there. And I remember buying like Excalibur and Amazing Spider-Man. That was my thing back in the day. Still is
nice.
Now, man. But man, those days were.
Well, I had at about the same time, I had a couple of Marvel subscriptions through the mail, and I subscribed to Amazing Spider-Man. Right, I think my first issue was like first appearance of Cletus Cassidy, so like right before Carnage hit. Now, I had a Silver Surfer and a What If subscription too at about the same time. Now, granted, every single one of those now very valuable like Carnage early appearances came in the mail nicely folded in half, to fit in the mailbox. So, whatever future value right out the window. But like, oh yeah, I love going to the mailbox too and getting those subscriptions. Back in the day, they said that they came with a protective backing board, but the backing board was just a little thicker than a piece of computer paper, so it wasn't doing any good anyway. But Such great memories of riding to the local comic book store on my bike, or going out to the mailbox to get whatever was coming coming in the mail that month. I will tell you this though, dude. Was not smart enough. So like I go to the store to get my pull list of all my Valiant books for the month, right? Or for the week. Not smart enough to take a backpack. I literally would ride back like several miles with hands on the handlebars and the brown paper comic bag clutched against the handlebar in one hand. Like, never occurred to me that maybe a bag or a backpack would be good for the amount of books I'm getting. No, rode it home, clutched to the handlebar the entire way. Not the smartest kid, but it did transfer. The love of comics has stuck with me, and here I am writing my own now. So
yeah, man. You talk about bikes and backpacks and stuff like that. Yo, I remember those days like if they were yesterday. Hey, Ben, can you do me a favor? No, I'm not asking you to come on to the show, but can you turn that light off? I hate this freaking ring around my neck. It looks like someone is strangling me. Just turn it off. Damn, I still got it. Well, maybe just turn off this light and then turn on that light. And there it is. The wifey, she fixed the problem. Thank you, babe. Yeah, that's good. All right, love you. Be safe. All right. And she had a couple questions for you, Jason. She was
sure.
Yeah, but yeah, she's laughing. So I'll leave that for later on. So let me say hello to the chat once again, guys. I want to say a big shout out right now. Jason Douglas in the house, Source Point Press, writer of Parallel. We'll be talking about that book. Man, we're gonna have a great time, you guys. If you have questions for Jason, when we talk about Parallel, leave them in the comments. Just how we do the show, man. And of course, we got let's see who else in the house. Magic Lasso in the house, man. And let's see, man, we got The Comic Assassin, Longbox Diving, Tacoma Comics in the house. Thank you all for hanging out on this special day, on this special Sunday, hanging out with my brother right now, man. And let's see, yo, Fuchsia, what's going on, dear? Thank you for hanging out, man. I really do appreciate your time. And Apex Comics, what's up, bro? What's going on, Brett? Thank you for hanging out. And Sean is in the house, man. Of course, Stay Puff in the house. And if you don't mind, Jason, can I give one more shout out at number 2, man, right now?
Go for it.
At number 2, man, we got Halabeast Collectibles, 369 subscribers on Instagram. You can find him under the same name, man. You want some comic news, some raffles, an auction, and some mail call openings. This is your channel, man. Check him out right now. He just dropped a video, dude. Let me tell you, he's putting up these shelves for his comic books, and the room looks freaking amazing. I was like, holy crap, I wish I had a room, because my room is a sun room, but his room is epic, man. He's got like this, like all these books along the wall. It's freaking dope, man. It's freaking dope, man. I mean, your room looks better than mine, Jason, I have to say.
No. This is actually, I'm upstairs in my son's room to try to get away and get some peace and quiet up here. Those are his comic prints up on the back wall there. Hey, I'm noticing I noticed a couple of uncanny slabs behind you there. Little woman. Oh, that's good stuff.
That's a little something, nothing like, I know you like some New Mutants. I saw on Instagram. You got some new.
Just completed my run. Yep, absolutely.
Nice. We're kicking it out here, just talking about stuff. Oh, good Lord, man. There's so much to talk about, Jason. I don't even know. Let's see here. We'll start off slow. We got that first question out the way. Your first comic book. What is it? What was it? Do you remember?
The first one. So the first one I have a memory of reading, and this is like one of those things where I understand that all it would take is a little bit of a Google search, and I could probably tell you exactly what it was. But it's just one of those like mysteries of youth where you just have this vague memory. So it came in a 3-pack. right? You could get them like in the mid and late 80s. You could get them like at a Meijer, a Kroger, or a Kmart kind of store. And the one comic that I remember, the first one that I remember reading was an issue of G.I. Joe, Marvel G.I. Joe, where it's boat based, it's ocean based, and it's like an atoll, which is like imagine there's no island in the middle and there's just the reef kind of going around the edge, and it's literally just panel after panel of the Joes and Cobra like chasing each other around the outside of this perimeter, sometimes getting closer and sometimes not. And I loved it. And then a couple issues of Batman, a couple issues of Spider-Man after that, and I was hooked. But I'm pretty sure that's the first one I ever read. So it's an issue of G.I. Joe. I can't give you the number because it's like lost to history in my mind, and I haven't done that very hard process of like clicking a couple of buttons and like looking into it and what actually was it. But that was definitely my first one.
Oh man, G.I. Joe, man. That movie, when that cartoon came out, that movie was one of the greatest cartoon movies ever, man. G.I. Joe, man. But man, for the book, I wish I had that book in my PC. Maybe one day I'll go out there hunting for it. All right. So guys, man, we're hanging out once again. We got Jason Douglas from Source Point Press. We're gonna be talking about his book. I think it's appropriate to do it right now, sir.
Sure.
Let's talk about Parallel, man. Parallel. And guys, if you're interested in Parallel, I got the all the links in the description below. And for more details about this book, we got Jason to talk about it. And he sent me a digital copy. I was not able to read it. And I said, I want to buy it. I'm going to buy the book. I want that book in my hand. You don't have to sign it, Jason. Just saying. You don't.
We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. We're going to find a way.
But I want that book. When I get it, I want to sit here and just go through the pages and enjoy it and smell it. I mean, people say you can't smell digital, but that's all right. During these rough times, if you want something digital, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of digital stuff out there to read. So, Jason, man, let's talk about this Parallel book, man.
Absolutely. So
I'll give you the solo panel. Yeah. It's only right. All right.
So you said something earlier that kind of like that made me think, because you were talking about when we look back and we remember our youth and it feels like just a blink of an eye ago, and that's kind of an underlying theme of Parallel. Parallel is a very relatable story about our main character Landon, who, just like a lot of us out there, wakes up one day, and whether for you it's in your mid-20s or late 20s, or like for me a decade or two later than that, and you kind of realize that some of the plans and some of the dreams that you had made as a young person have been put on hold, and we've put those kind of life dreams and choices and that future dreaming on hold, what we think is temporarily, because when you're young, right, the future feels infinite. And Landon kind of wakes up in his late 20s and realizes his life is pretty darn stagnant, and it's weighing on him pretty heavily. And the difference between him and us is his story takes a bit of a dark sci-fi turn. And at this point in his life where he's now 5 to 10 years out on giving up his dreams of pursuing music, in his case, for that comfort that a lot of us choose, right? We've got a bill to pay the next day. So you take that job that isn't your dream. You settle into that relationship that isn't the one to you. You let your life become comfort instead of pursuing the dream that seemed the most important thing to you from 18 to 22. And Landon wakes up and he's in that situation that so many of us find ourselves in. The big difference is he starts to be visited and hear voices and see visions of another version of him from a parallel world. And that other version of him is offering him that second chance that a lot of us feel that we don't get. Problem is, what's being offered, as good as it looks, as seductive and tempting as it is it might just not be in Landon's best interest psychologically and even physically to go along with it. It really asks that question of, do we get a second chance, and is it worth it? So it gets pretty dark, second half especially. Those of you with any of that kind of existential dread that was kind of the inspiration for me of the book, of saying, oh my God, time is slipping away. This is a book for you, but also beware that, it gets pretty heavy, it gets pretty dark, and we've got like a lot of questions in it about mental health, and about, there's even some pretty heavy themes about self-harm in there. But what's kind of cool about it, and this is through the way I planned it, writing it, and then testament to Adam Ferris, the artist on the book, who took it to another level. You really get to make some decisions on your own as the reader about, just like Landon is this happening in his head, or is this actually happening in real life? One character reacts to it this way. Landon believes it one minute and then doesn't believe it the next. And something that Adam did as an artist that I cannot talk about enough is he can draw ambiguity better than anybody out there. It's amazing. One minute you're like, oh man, Landon, this is happening, you should do it, take advantage. And the next minute you're like, dude's nuts, it's all happening in his head. And that's like panel to panel, page to page. And even though I wrote it, flipping through it now, like you mentioned, I got my physical copies the other day. It still kind of blows me away what he did with the art.
Nice, man. Well said, man. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get my hands on this book, guys. I dropped all the links. I put all the links there. I hope everything is fine. Hopefully, everyone could click it and support Jason on this project. It's a long time coming. How long did it take you to do this, man? And what was your?
It's a really great question, because two points that I really want to make. Number one, we're all in this very unprecedented situation, right? And a lot of us are staying at home, and our local comic shops are hurting and are closed, and dime is shut down, and the distribution system of comics, this thing that a lot of us out there really rely on, is kind of in flux. But there's a lot of indie publishers out there, right? Small press publishers like SourcePoint, who are still putting out quality material and can get a physical book in your hand, right? And so that's kind of one of the cool things right now, is you can get Parallel right now. You can go to sourcepointpress.com and order it and get 25% off, and they will ship to you, which is pretty cool, because even for my Marvel and DC people out there, that's not easy to do right now. And SourcePoint is doing this fantastic thing for the last several weeks, and will continue to do it. Not only do they have like these great sales on their website, and they'll send you this really, really good, cool indie stories. They've also got this retailer relief program going. And at checkout, like if you go by Parallel, you get 25% off, you get a decent shipping rate. At checkout, you drop in the name of your local comic shop, the brick and mortar place that you love and you miss going to. You just drop their name in there, and SourcePoint is shooting them relief cash. So like actually a portion of your order monetarily is going to go to your local comic book shop and keep them afloat. So you've got these small press companies like SourcePoint, who at the best of time are struggling upstream against the giant corporate juggernauts of our industry. And here they are in tough times, not only continuing to put product in people's hands, but helping out the retailers that we all love and rely on. So that's kind of cool. So I'm excited to tell you about that. As far as the book goes, that's the other thing about indie publishing. It takes a long time. So like I wrote the first half of Parallel. I wrote the first half. So because this is a 64-page one shot, right? So it's a big fat comic book. Like you get your bang for your buck in Parallel. And I wrote the first half of it, first 32 pages. I wrote it 3 years ago.
Okay.
And it existed, right? Like, so I've got this script, this thing in my hands, my first script ever. And I had written some plays before that, and I'd had a couple things published, but like this was my first attempt at what was actually the dream. Okay. So there's a little bit of a connection to the actual themes of the book. Like my dream was always this. And it was time. So I write these first 32 pages like 3 years ago over summer. And then what do you do with it, right? Like, what do you do with half a script that, you know, it was very, I've talked about this before, but like it was intimidating and kind of daunting the next step, right? It wasn't the first step because I didn't know better. I didn't know that it was going to be hard. I didn't know that it was going to be a long process. And I was just like, I've got this story to tell and I want to tell it. So I started typing. The getting started wasn't the scariest part. The scariest part was, what do I do to share this, right? And the online submission process for any of my like aspiring creators out there, it's not very welcoming, right? Like you go online and nobody wants to see your script. There are very few companies out there, big, medium, or small, who take unsolicited, you know, submissions. And those that do pretty much just want art. Maybe they'll take a pitch, you know, kind of thing, but they really want art. So they definitely don't want 32 pages of script. But I didn't want to give up, right? The effort had been made. It was a dream. And so 3 years ago, I took actually coming up on in a weekend or two, I went to Motor City Comic Con and I walked up to the Source Point Press booth, which was the first one that I saw. And they've got a very pretty booth. It's a great setup. And I walk up there and I walk up to the first dude I see, dude who looks like he knows what he's doing. And just, I don't know, like cosmic kismet, whatever you want to call it. Like I'm trying to walk to this one dude. I'll be honest with you, it's because he had the most magnificent giant red beard and he just looked like a character. And I went up to him, and that happened to be Travis McIntyre, the co-founder and president and editor-in-chief of SourcePoint. And he's a dude who I pitched. And I had him. So I literally had a physical copy of the script, right, and a cover letter, like I was trying to go for a job interview and like a pitch and stuff. And it was, check this out. So this is like my favorite anecdote about the early days, is because I literally handed him this in like a file folder, manila folder from school, because like I'm a teacher. My day job is I've been a teacher for 20 years, and like holding them like it was like a file, like somebody's, like a kid's test. And it had like color paper clips holding the pieces together from my classroom. And like, he's like looking at me kind of sideways, like, this is like 2017. He's like, are you pitching me a comic from 1971? Like, what is this archaic method you're doing? But it was enough. He was like, he's like, I like the cut of your jib. And I'm like, all right. And he took it home and he read it. And he's like, okay, let's do this. Which just out of the blue, right? And he came back the next day at the con. And he's like, I don't see it as issues. I see it as a one shot, 64 pages. You got another 32 pages in you. And I'm like, absolutely. In my head, I'm like, I have no idea. But I said, absolutely, out loud. And then a few months later, I went home and wrote the second half. And then for the last, like 2.5 years, it's been this fantastic kind of roller coaster of events and experiences where, I get hooked up with Adam Ferris, like this brilliant artist who's on the up and come as well. And I get those first character studies and I get those first sample pages, and it blows my mind. And then I get to write, pages for him now that I can see what he does, which is like just this amazing dream for any writer to be like write for your artist and go, ooh, this dude can go dark. So the second half is going to be even darker than I planned it on being, right? And seeing those pages come in, and then see the letters get applied, and then to see that cover, and then, oh my God, anybody out there who knows SourcePoint, you know who Casey Pierce is, the writer of Nora. She is a genius, and she wrote the foreword for us. And if you want me to be honest with you right now, like I would go to sourcepointpress.com right now and pay, at 25% off, pay like the $5.50 for Parallel just to read her foreword, because it's brilliant. It's been a long process, and I'll tell you this too. That's the thing that, as a longtime comic fan, I think I've learned the most about, right? Because as somebody who reads my trades or even reads monthly books, like, you have that physical copy in your hand, right? And you get your enjoyment, especially a monthly, you get your enjoyment out of it 20 minutes, right? Half an hour. Maybe you go back and flip through it again. But like, you're also then moving on to the next one, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
while you're reading it, what you don't realize is like the amount of work and time and effort that goes into each and every issue or each and every story arc or whatever. And as much as I appreciated comics in the moment, like being part of the process now, as a fan and then now as a creator, it has given me like this new appreciation every time I open and read something for pleasure myself. I've got this whole new level of respect and appreciation for the hard work of the creators and the editorial staff and literally even just the people who design the layout of the title page, you know, and all the behind the scenes work and time and effort that goes into it. It's really kind of opened my eyes to that every time I crack open a comic now.
Man, it's a lot of hard work, and we're very grateful that, I mean, you put your time and effort into that book, dude. And we're very grateful. I can't wait to buy one. I'm sure the community they're looking forward to buying this book and reading this. I mean, you put the work in. I think it's only right for us now. It's like, man, we got a comic book out there. There's no new comics. They're coming out soon, but here it is, man. There's one right now we can purchase. The links are in the description below, and check that out, man. We're gonna keep
Well,
talking.
that's something else. That's something else that I actually had in mind. You know, like when you're writing something, you're obviously thinking about the story you want to tell. You're thinking thematically. You're thinking panel to panel, right? Pacing and you know, this is all new learning curve for me, right? This is my first script, so like here I am, you know. Yes, I want this character to say this thing. I want this piece of action to happen. And then you've got this whole other layer of consideration saying, yeah, but is that going to be too many panels on a page? Or do I want the reveal to be on the next page? Or do I want it facing pages? So all that's going through your mind. But on top of all that, something I really, really was conscious of when writing this script was I wanted something that was very readable. Right. I think that's another thing that I remember from being a kid is when you're reading a monthly, especially like a long running monthly, and you know, definitely from one of our big twos. If you're reading a DC or Marvel monthly, as much as they, you know, want you to buy their book, the big thing is they also want you to buy the book next month, right? And if you're sitting there rereading that same issue over and over and over again, chances are you're not buying the book next month. And there's that corporate aspect of it that's kind of built into that. And this being a one shot, and this being a self-contained story, and this being indie comics, there's a little bit more breathing room for a kind of story that I felt, you know, like with Sandman, I'll go back and reread as many times as I possibly have time to, right? This one, I think you get to the end of Parallel, and at least the feedback that I'm getting is a lot of people just go back to page one and read it again, right? Because there's an ending that makes you really, really rethink everything that happened throughout the book. And another testament to my good friend Adam Ferris, my favorite artist. The dude draws things in this book that you will appreciate the first time through and make your mind go the second time you read through it. So, you know, and another thing about, you know, getting books out there in this time or giving you your value for your hard-earned dollar, I think Parallel really allows you to go back and enjoy it a second time or a third time or whatever, because you're going to pick up on things. You're going to pick up on clues. And you might even, I've gotten a little bit of feedback, you might even think about it completely differently the second time through. So that was something I was looking and very conscious of doing as well.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing about it, man. If you're able to go back and you got nothing to read, we're like, wait a minute, Parallel. I want to read that book again, man. And a bunch of people go out there and grab graphic novels because there's nothing to read. You sit there, read a graphic novel or trade. Man, you got Parallel now, man. You got to read the books. And you know, there's a question out there for you, Jason, if you don't mind me dropping this into you. Dropping this
Let's go.
now, man. Let's do this. We got Northgarden Comics, man. Question for Jason. Does being a comic fan change when you become a creator? If so, how, sir?
Yes and no. I mean, I was a fan first, and it was my fandom and it was my love and appreciation of comics as an art form that even led me to this, right? So the one doesn't happen without the other. But like I said a moment ago, I think the biggest thing that's actually changed is just the appreciation for the time and the effort that goes into every single comic you've ever read. I mean, the ones that you love, the ones that you thought were trash, the ones that you've read 100 times, the ones that you've only read once, like a whole mess of people worked really hard. And especially if it's like a smaller press book, an indie book, they also worked really hard for a long, long time on it. And so I read that a little bit differently. There's been a slight change. It's not that thing. Have you ever heard like when somebody who's in the film industry has a hard time like watching a movie now and not seeing, oh, look, I know that kind of shot, or I know exactly what they're doing off camera with the lighting right now. I am still very, very much able to lose myself in good story and good art. So that like hasn't gone away. I'm not like sitting there like every time I turn a panel, all I'm seeing in my brain is how they make the sausage. That hasn't happened, but you know what I mean? But I'm maybe a little bit more aware of it. Like I'll turn a panel or I'll turn a page and go, oh yeah, I see what they did there. And I don't think it's taken anything away. I think it's actually added just another layer of appreciation as it's gone. I hope that answers the question.
Cool, man. Cool, man. And if you don't mind me, Jason, I gotta give out another shout out right now, man. Another shout out. There's another question coming into the chat. I'll put this here to let it just sink in your head for 1 second there. But right now, coming in on YouTube at 461 subscribers, man. We have the Dorkerys, man. On Instagram, you can find this channel on their Instagram. All right. So right now we have this family of 4, man. They like to dork out. They love comics, all things pop culture, specialized in CGC unboxing, comic hauls, Disney and San Diego Comic-Con videos, man. And not only that, guys, they're a big fan of the Silver, Bronze Age comic books, man. Check this channel out right now. The Dorkies, man. 461. Guys, I got more to read, man. I got this note on the second screen. Jason, so much to talk about. Man, what the hell? I'm just like, oh. Every time I do the shout out show, I'm just like, oh crap, man. So let me get back to this channel right now. What else can I say? They're looking forward for something that maybe you guys never seen before. They want to put stuff like that on their channel. Their goal is for them to tell a story of each book in their haul, and let's see, and how it was obtained, what it means to their collection. They want to say thank you to the comic book community for welcoming them with open arms and letting them be dorks they are. So stay tuned for more videos on their channel and a laugh or two along the way about pop culture and comics. The Dorkerys, 461 subscribers. Check them out right now. Man, that's a lot of damn talking, man. That is a talking. Oh crap. Oh man. So let's see, man. There's the question, man. Apex Comics. Jason, do you keep your rights to your books or book?
Good question. So my situation is actually not the typical like your first time out situation. I got really, really lucky in the fact that most people who have that idea, because we talked about earlier about that kind of submission process being very daunting, and there's not a lot of places that are just taking your ideas. What a lot of people do when they create their books is they go through like a Kickstarter, and they have to raise their own funds. And then if you're lucky, you print a certain amount of copies, put them out there, and then, once in a blue moon, publisher picks up on it, and then you're in a partnership with them. I didn't have to go through any of that. Like mine, it was a direct pitch to Source Point, and Travis said, let's go. So I actually got to sign a contract for my very first book, and it's a shared rights contract, and I get royalties, and I'm involved in all the steps along the way. But it's a shared right thing, and which is absolutely fine by me, because as somebody who's got a few ideas in my head and want to share those stories with as many people as possible, like the idea that this lifelong dream that I've had, that I finally got the courage to go forward with, is out in the world right now. And such an amazing company like SourcePoint, who has as big a reach as they do for the size of company as they are, is with me, and I'm part of that family now. And you know, I didn't have to go through that massive struggle that so many creators have to do about they are alone in that process. I mean, I've done a lot of self-promotion, but like I've also got this amazing family and company behind me and with me as well. So that was part of the deal, the contract that I signed.
Nice, man. And I was wondering, you know, why SourcePoint Press, and you explained it, and that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Let me see here. What is the hardest part of being a writer, and then what is the kind of say if you get the hardest, then what's the easiest part? So it's a two question part. So what's
I think that by the hardest part, that's a good question, because like for me, being this being my first comic script that I wrote, the hardest part I think was the learning curve of everything being new. And believe it or not, it was some of like the minute details. It wasn't so much getting a story on the page. It was much more the fact that it's physically a different animal to create. Like I had written enough scripts for plays and skits before this that there was a lot of muscle memory involved in that. And it was something that if you asked me or tasked me to do that, I could sit down in front of a keyboard, and I'm not saying it would be good, but I knew how to physically create the blocking and the pacing and the way the dialogue, you know, bounces off back and forth between characters on stage. But this was new. Now I had, you know, as a collector and reader of comics, I had read a lot of back matter in a deluxe trade where the author of the company puts like a script back there, and so I had like examples to look at, but I'd never done one before. And literally, you'd be surprised, but like oh, I've got to, you know, I got to indent now 3 times to get to this type of line that you should write, and you're supposed to put this in parentheses, and you're supposed to put the colon here, and you're supposed to identify that it's a timestamp and not narration, and you're supposed to identify the sound effects and write those differently, and like all that stuff was brand new. And then you know, I think I mentioned this before, but like the pacing, right? The idea that as clear as a story is in your head, when you're putting it on the page, that will eventually be panels. But those panels, there's pacing and storytelling considerations to think about with how many panels, what size, how they interact with each other. Like I mentioned before, do you want this panel to be facing that panel on opposite pages? Do you want it to be a bit more of a reveal when you flip the page? And like all that is happening at once at the same time as you're having characters talk and do and show and explain. And so there's like a lot of moving parts. And I'll be honest with you, especially for anybody who's like thinking about this, the best part about your first script, you want to know here's part 2. The easiest thing about writing a comic I'll tell you what, the easiest thing about writing your first comic is you don't know better. And ignorance is bliss. The fact that you don't know that it's going to be hard, the fact that you don't know it's going to take a long time, the fact that you don't know that you've got to do all these things at once, is like the best gift, because you get to just do it. You know what I mean? You can just do it, and you don't quit because it's hard. You don't quit because it's scary, because you don't know it is yet. And that was awesome. That was like the best part, was like realizing in the middle and going, whoo, this is not easy. You know, that daunting enough where maybe I wouldn't have taken that leap in the beginning, but I didn't know better. And that was probably the easiest thing. It was awesome. It was easy to start because I didn't know what was in store.
Dude, that is freaking dope. The way you just said it right there, man. That is and to see your just to see your reaction, your emotion, and that's just real organic, man. That is you can't be more real, man, and that's dope, man. That is dope. I got another shout out I need to give out. There's a bunch of people in the house, man. I'm sorry, guys, if I haven't mentioned you. I'm gonna scroll back a little right now. Need to say hello to let's see here. Eric Spider 23, what's going on? Clarence Price, hello, sir. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see who else. The Dorkerys are in the house, man. Oh man, and that is it at the moment. But guys, man, I see everyone in the chat. They're subscribing to everyone. That is amazing. But don't forget the links for Jason's book, man. They're all there. Check it out. Click the link, and he's gonna talk more about that. But I gotta give a quick shout out right now, man. Northgarden Comics at 50 subscribers right now. On Instagram, you can find his channel under the same name. So he started his whole YouTube to connect with others who love the same hobby as we all do right now. He's been collecting for 30 plus years. He wants to focus on different titles, runs, and stories. You can find him sharing his books that he finds at great prices and show and tell part of his collections. So go and check out his channel and check out his latest video on a mystery box, guys. A mystery box. Everyone in the community love a mystery box. Well, I love them. Some people hate them, but it's something where you get a box in the mail and enjoy it. I enjoy it, man. I don't know about you, Jason. Do you like mystery boxes? Or
I like it. You know what? I love a good mystery box when one of those items in there blows your mind. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. You gotta take a chance. You gotta take a chance.
I know. Yep.
All right. So let's see here, man. We keep it going here, man. We could talk more about Parallel. I'm going to give the platform once again to Jason. There's a bunch of links you want to talk about. I'll give you the platform. I got the links in the description below, and I hope you guys check it out. And I got a few more questions, and if you guys have any more questions for right now, for the man right there, Jason Douglas from Source Point Press, writer of Parallel, man. So I'm gonna give the platform to Jason. He's gonna talk about this book a little bit more and about the links below. So Jason, here you go.
Excellent. Well, so one of the coolest things about this process is being a fan first and foremost, and then creating your own book is like all these things that about your fandom kind of come true. And like if you go to anybody who wants to come over to my Instagram page, it's J Douglas Writes, and like the latest video I just put up was me literally unboxing my copies as they arrived in the mail. Yeah, and you mentioned the garage of many pictures and posters, which a lot of people have been commenting on. I've even gotten some requests that I need just more videos, less of me and my comic and more of me just showing off the fact that I have wallpapered my garage walls and ceiling with all these pictures and posters. But anyway, I digress.
It had a lot of views, man. It had a lot of views.
Yeah, I can't tell you how kind of thrilling it was that like this thing that I created out of a love of what I truly believe is probably the most elastic and malleable medium that we've got out there, right? It does things that film can do, and it does things that film can't. It does stuff that prose can do and stuff that prose can't. It's really one of the most versatile storytelling mediums we have, and it's one of the reasons why I love comics so much. You can tell any kind of story, and you can tell it in such a powerful way that you just can't fully do in other ways that we tell stories. And what's kind of cool, and hopefully you guys can check this out with the links below, is and what I was honored was, yeah, I've got this physical comic now in my hands, this thing that I created, and you can go get your copy, and you can support, like if you go to sourcepointpress.com right now and order the book at 25% off, you not only support me and creators like me and small press books and indie creators, but like I think I mentioned before, SourcePoint's got that opportunity where you can support your local comic shop at the exact same time. and you get a good read, you get a great quarantine read, you get a lot of bang for your buck, you get this dark story that I think a lot of people can relate to about that existential dread that most of us feel about time passing, and you get that nice dark sci-fi twist to go along with it. But the thing that really kind of, as amazing as that is, I've also now been absolutely honored that there have been 3 variants of my comic made, exclusives to some Michigan shops, and there's links to those as well. There's Sanctum Sanctorum Comics and Oddities, which is a pretty famous worldwide company. They did a limited print run of 100 of the Les Garner variant. That's absolutely gorgeous. In fact, you've got it. I think that's what you've got as your background in your
yes, sir,
for our interview today. And it's like this beautiful cover that thematically really hits the book really well, because it's a shattered glass, and you get the our world Landon and like one sliver of it, and then there's the other Landon and the other one, and it goes back and forth, and it's really, really cool. And those are limited to 100, and there's not a lot left. So if you're a variant hunter, there's an option right there. And then just last week, blown away again, because this is not, I don't know if you guys know this or not about like the comic industry. A lot of times the variants, this is not something that you as the creator necessarily know is even going to happen. These are retailers that are like, ooh, we like this book so much, let's do an exclusive with it. And a shop called State of Comics in Plymouth, Michigan, just created 2 variants by the very talented Esteban. And it's a bit of a Donnie Darko homage cover, and it's amazing, and it's actually really creepy and scary looking cover. And there's a limited press run of 200 trade dress versions that he put out there in the world, and I think there's only 18 left right now as we speak. And then there was a set version that has the trade dress and a limited edition foil virgin variant. And there are only 100 of those, and there's only 4 left of those in the world right now. So, you know, if you're a variant guy, if you're a speculation girl, if you're into that kind of thing, that stuff's out there too. I mean, look at that cover; that's pretty dark and creepy. And you know, I just as the creator of the book, it's just amazing. As a longtime fan, it's just amazing to see that, right? That somebody thought, "Ooh, I like this enough. I like the story enough." I like the topic enough that they made variants, and those are out there, and it's kind of surreal for me right now, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So all those links are below, right? Direct links to those, and those are going pretty fast. And then the book's out there. I mean, if you're looking to just throw a couple of bucks and support, you know, small press and indie comics and creators and local comic shops, the regular cover is still out there too, and SourcePlan will ship that to you and 25% off, and the retailer relief program. And I can't speak highly enough about that company and everything that they're doing for comic fans right now, and for retailers that are struggling right now, and obviously everything they've done to support me. So if any of those versions of the book interest you, they're all right there, a click away. And you know, if anything goes haywire or whatever, honestly, seriously, I am an accessible person. You come over to J Douglas Writes over at Instagram and drop me a message, and we will chat, and I will answer your questions there, and send you in the direction of those books if you need them. So hit me up and we'll chat. And yeah, I love it. It's a dream come true, literally. And I just appreciate that there's people out there that are interested. The feedback I'm getting is pretty amazing, and really, really does my heart good. Not only for me, myself, but really just for getting something cool into people's hands and giving a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of relief as we all go through something that is very unprecedented and none of us have ever experienced before. So I'm glad that I'm at least some small sliver of relief and entertainment in that.
Yeah, and I agree, man. I'm happy to able to have you on the show, and we're just hanging out, and it's something that we need, just to hang out and just talk comics and support each other during these times. I think I think everyone jumps on the shows and because they need some fresh air, and I think something like this is. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing this. This show is the one that brings me the most joy. I mean, besides the other shows I do, But I love to see, everyone in the house just like subscribing and checking out the stuff, and hopefully you guys can spread the word out. What Jason's been doing, man. You put those sweat and tears to a comic book, and you watch that video on IG, like he mentioned, man. Yo, paper out that box and took that book and blam, put it on the table. That's
I'll be honest with you. That might not have been the first take, because maybe, just maybe, the first take I got a little choked up, and not that there's anything wrong with showing emotion in the Instagram video, but it made for very bad viewing because and so that might not have been the first take, because it was pretty special opening up that box and seeing my name on the cover of the form of entertainment that I love the most. You know what I mean?
Should have recorded. That would have been epic, dude. You should have had, just have someone just hold the phone over you and just record it, man. Dude, that would have been.
I tried to enlist one of my children to come out and help me with the video, but everybody was way too busy with not helping me, so I had to pull it off on my own. So it's me solo. That's literally me on the fly, figuring out how to flip the camera back and forth. So that's how sad I am. But yeah.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Yo, man, guys, feel free, man, to check out the links below. There's one more shout out I have to give right now. We got the Comic Intellect P at 146 subscribers on YouTube, IG. You can find them under the same name. We have this gentleman that's been collecting since the 1980s. That's around my range. I'm 44 years old, but he wants to show off and talk about his books and his collection, and that's why he's on YouTube. He just did a video on some wait a minute, let me get this right here, man. He just selected his first 15 comics to get sent out to CGC, man. 15 comics. Check it out. And I was like, holy crap, there was one of them. It was War of the Gods. And I was like, wait a minute, I got that book around here somewhere. I was running around the house, found it, and I was like, man, he's sending this out. Some George Perez goodness. And I was like, all right, cool, man. I was like, I'm going to hold on to this book. If he's sending this out to get slabbed, well, I'm going to hold it. So how about you, Jason? Do you like your books, graded or raw? What? I'm just curious.
Well, so that's a pretty funny story. I have actually only bought one slabbed comic in my life. Now, that's probably going to change, because when the world returns to normal, I'm still going to go out there on the con circuit, right? I mean, that's like the big missing piece right now. Like I talked about earlier about going through the whole process and how amazing it was as a fan being on the other side of it and seeing the letters being added to the book and seeing the art come in and all those steps. So like the one missing piece for me, because remember, this is everything that's happened to me is for the first time. The last piece was we are now right now that the book's out in the world, like I look down at my like online calendar and it's like, oh, I was supposed to do a signing today. Oh, that convention's supposed to start tomorrow. So all that's on hiatus right now and on hold. So when all that comes back, I mean, I'm enough of a fan. I'm enough of a nerd to still, what's going to happen is I'm probably going to send out a copy of, each of these covers, the variants and my regular cover. And I'll probably get those slabbed. And those will be actually the first ones that I own. I bought, are you ready for this? I bought a slabbed copy, 6.5, of X-Men 94 years ago. Like right after, so like CGC existed, right? There's that initial explosion on the scene, and then you remember there's that kind of that window of a handful of years where it wasn't that big of a deal for a while, and it wasn't until like the resurgence in the last few years. So it was kind of in that lull. I got a good deal on it. And are you ready for this? I took it home. Me and my buddy took it out to the garage, took a hammer, cracked the case, took it out, and it's been raw ever since. So I've never actually sent anything in myself, but that'll probably change, because I think it would be kind of cool to have like a copy each of the different covers of my book, and like maybe do something nice on a wall or something like that.
Man, that'd be that'd be awesome. I mean, there's certain books I want to get sent out and get graded. I do have something here, sir. I mean,
Oh,
the community knows me, but this is your first time. I do have. Of course.
oh,
Yeah. We got the Daredevil, but without the back. But I know someone who's gonna hook me up. He's gonna fix all this. I need to send it out. He said, "Don't worry." I said, "How much are you gonna charge me?" He's gonna press and clean it. He said, "Yo, don't worry, man. That's Bub's Comics." He said, "I'm gonna give you an act of kindness. It's an A-OK. He's gonna hook me up. He's gonna fix this bad boy, and this may be one of my first books I ever send out to CGC, man."
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I got issue 2. I got issue 2, man. I'm not bragging, but I got it. Got it, man. That's my pride and joy, man. And people, they laugh at me because I talk about Daredevil, I mean, the blind man. But then get some yellow goodness there all day.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, brother. Enough about that. Enough about that. So, how about you, man? When you go to your LCS, when this thing opens up, what's on your pull list?
So I am very I love the dollar bin dives. I love to dig through long boxes when time permits. And kind of my thing that I've been doing, like you mentioned early on that I recently completed a run of New Mutants, right? Had to cheat on the 98 a little bit, got a facsimile, but oh, do you want to hear? So you remember when I told you earlier about like the slight stupid, like just that dumb kid stupidity about like holding on to the comics I put in the backpack. So here's maybe the dumbest thing I've ever done. So at 13 or whatever I was at the time when it came out, I went to a neighbor's house and I traded my New Mutants 98 for a 93 straight up. Because let's think about that in like 91 or 90 or whenever it was. 93 had Wolverine on the cover, and 98 had some goon named Deadpool that nobody cared about. And so I got Wolverine jumping on, Cable's face with his claws out. And I was like, I made out on this deal. And then, a couple decades later, you go, oops. But like, oops. I love the thrill of, like, I'm one issue away from putting together a run of the original run of Marvel Fanfare, right? And like, it's so cool to find, because it becomes a key to you, right? It's not a key book, but it becomes a key to you because you're looking for issue 37 and 42 and 17, and like you find it for 50 cents or you find it for $1. Like it's a thrill, right?
Yes, sir.
So I love that, and I'm like trying to put together some runs. I'm hesitant to even tell you that I'm kind of, sort of, in the back of my head working on an Uncanny X-Men run, but like so many of that is like out of your out of the price range that it's kind of silly to say that I'm working on it, but I kind of am. And then as far as like what I follow, besides a lot of my friends at Source Point, I made that switch years ago to loyalty to creators rather than necessarily a specific book or even a company. And like, whatever Mike Mignola puts out in the world, whatever Jeff Lemire puts out in the world, whatever Eric Powell puts out in the world, whatever Jeffrey Brown puts out in the world, I'm going to go there. I don't care what company it's from. I don't care what it is. So like my pull lists, my ordering habits are much more creator based these days than like an overarching loyalty to like Marvel or DC or even Dark Horse.
And that's perfectly fine. Everyone in the chat, just a few people I know out there, they love indie comic books, man. They go out there and they want to support, and if they can't buy the actual copy, they go online and buy it digitally. And we were talking about digital stuff earlier in the show. I want to buy your book. I want it in my possession. But I know for sure, man, there's somebody in the house right now, Edwin, the comic jabroni. He's he loves some indie comic books. There's another guy out there in the comic book community. His name by Wolf Warner. Man, this guy's from Brooklyn, New York. He's a school teacher. The guy buys everything, and he loves his indie comic books. So, they say indie. Where is that, man? That's it. And and actually it is the truth, man. Because
well, like I said before, I mean, there's a bunch of advantages, I think, to smaller press publishing, right? The biggest disadvantage, though it's not really proving in the last 2 months to be a disadvantage, but like the biggest disadvantage is you don't have a giant corporation and a machine that's been churning out product for 80 years behind you, right? That's really the only drawback, because the positives are many. There's a bit more editorial freedom to tell a wider variety of stories, right? With a lot more creative and creator input. I like that. The fact that when you buy indie, you are supporting people whose livelihood a lot of the times depends on those book-to-book sales. It's just as a community, as a comic community, it's like a really good feeling knowing that not only are you getting, bang for your buck and really cool creative storytelling, but you're making a difference. Like, you go online and you buy, or go into your comic shop when it's open and you buy something from a smaller company, from a smaller time creator, like, you're directly helping them in that moment and supporting, you know what I mean? And I think it really ties us closer together as a community, which is one of the things that I really love about SourcePoint, because it's so much more of a family than a company. It blew my mind, like the support network inside of it. The fact that from the outside, I looked at, like I mentioned, Casey Pierce earlier as more of like a bit of a hero worship thing going on, and then she just like steps up and is like my hero mentor and writes my forward for me. It's just like, oh, wow, thank you, and the other cool thing for my more speculative friends out there, right? For my investors, because there's like 10% of my comic bloodstream that still plays that game to some extent, as much as I want to sit here and be all highfalutin about storytelling and creators, and I got a little bit of that in my DNA too. You play the indie game, guess what? Small print runs across the board. You have a much higher percentage chance of that book, if it catches on, skyrocketing in price, if that's your game. Especially, I mean, you look at like the links that you've got below. You look at like some of those variants that are out there for Parallel right now. Like, holy cow! The fact that there's only like 4 of those foil variants left. I mean, we all know what happens as soon as that thing sells out. What happens on the aftermarket? So, I mean, that's thrilling to me and whatever, but if that's your game, indie's the way to go for that too.
Yeah, next thing you know, you see that book on eBay, it going for, $30-$40 or whatever the case may be,
Right.
I guess when you see stuff like that, I know you have to. I mean, look and be like, what's this book going for? I mean, you gotta have an itch and be like, what's my book going for? I mean, when that happens, it's like, damn, 40. I mean, does that like upset you, or just like, damn, they're flipping my book? And
well, I don't know. It's like it reminds me of like the people who like you go, oh, I've never Googled myself. Like I've never done Google search on my own name. Like I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. Watch me contradict myself within 10 seconds. Okay. I am not going to stoop to the level of checking the prices of Parallel once some of the variants sell out. I will never do it until 5 minutes later, when I rationalize, like, I'm going to look. So I'll never do it. I'm guaranteed to do it. There you go. The contradiction that is me.
Oh, man. Yo, guys, man, I want to say, everyone in the house, thank you for hanging out with us right now, man. We got my buddy right now. I consider him a buddy. I got to know him a lot longer. He's a friend now. I consider him a friend. Any other projects in the house, bro? Any other projects you got, going on in your head or written down somewhere?
A little bit of both. I've actually got something lined up right now. I wrote the 4-page story arc, the story beats, the pitch, the character bios, did my research. I got pictures, I got video, and I've got a full #1 issue script of my next project ready to go. I mean, kind of waiting, I want to let this play out and dedicate myself fully to this right now before that is something that we consider putting out in the world. But it's a project near and dear to my heart. It's a post-World War I or post-World War II story. It takes place in small town Michigan. It is very much dedicated and loosely based on my late grandmother. It's a girl empowerment story. It's a minority empowerment story, very much inspired not only by my late grandma and some things that she went through, but a lot of the young people who go through my classroom and still struggle with certain biases and certain things that hold them back from their goals, even in the 21st century, much less when you talk about what the world was like and who was allowed to do what and who wasn't back in 1946. The cool thing about the story that I'm telling is that it is actually superpower based. And it's about like this young girl discovering her powers in a world that doesn't have them under tragic circumstances. And yet with all this power and kind of extra that she's got, how just because of her age and just because of her gender, just because of where she lives and what's expected of her, that it still doesn't seem to matter to people. The cool thing that I want to tell people about that I'm really excited about this though is it actually most of the setting takes place in this factory. That's a real life factory in Plymouth, Michigan, that I found out through some records that my great grandfather worked in World War II, and it was this wire factory that got transferred and changed into, through a government contract, a factory that made these things called Marsden mats. And these are for my World War II nerds out there. These are the long strips of steel punched metal that they turned into the temporary runways in the Pacific and in Europe a bit, where like you could make a runway for Allied aircraft to take off from anywhere, right, in a day or two. And this factory actually kept on making them for a few years afterwards. One of only 2 factories in the United States. There was one in Alabama and one here that made it for years afterwards, and contributed to the Berlin airlift. And stuff. My great grandfather actually worked in that factory making those mats. And I got to get into, check this out. I got to get in there and do research. Literally, are you ready for this? 1 week before they tore it down and turned it into separate office buildings. And so like I got to see like all the original machinery and all the like original brickwork and stuff. Like just on a whim, did some research, found this guy who had bought it and was about to, change it into like a modern kind of like strip mall office park, and got to walk through and see all that history and record it before it's gone. And that's like one of the main settings where she's exploring her superpowers and working at it as a post-war Rosie the Riveter at 15 years old. So the project I'm really super excited about and hope it gets to go forward. Yeah.
Dude, man, that is that's a nice story, man. Thank you for sharing that story.
Absolutely.
There's one question here coming from Clarence Price. This is for you, Jason. Have you ever considered writing books for a mainstream company like DC, Image, Dark Horse, or Marvel?
Well, I mean, I got to be careful how I answer that question because, I mean, have I considered it? Yes, but that's not exactly the kind of thing that you just go, well, I've considered it, and thus now they will give me a job. I think I mentioned earlier, like I'm a full-time teacher. I'm a parent of 3. My 2 biggest jobs in life are getting our young people ready for life and getting my own young people ready for life. If an opportunity like that ever came along, would I definitely consider it? You better believe I would consider it, right? You just named all the companies that I grew up reading and loving and still continue to read and love today. But I'm also not going to be the person, wherever this opportunity takes me, I am not going to be the kind of person who leaves behind or forgets about where I got my start, right? Travis and Josh and Casey and Bob Sally, my editor, and all the people who took a chance on me in this book and helping me fulfill this dream, that means a lot, right? I'm giving them first crack and right of publishing, right of refusal for anything that I'm doing next, because loyalty means a lot, I think. And, I'm not leaving anybody behind. Not that anybody's coming knocking on my door right now either. So let's be honest here. It's not like Marvel's giving me a call and saying, by the way, we heard you just finished your run on New Mutants. Would you like to now write New Mutants? That hasn't happened. If it happened, we'll do another call and we'll talk about that. But, right now my loyalty is to where I started and these people who took a chance on me and helped me make a dream come true.
Well said, sir. Well said, sir. We're going to end the show in a few minutes, man. I want to say, I'm going to run down the shout outs. And then I got a little segment I call Rapid Fire. You wasn't expecting this.
I wasn't expecting that, but we're going to do it.
We're going to do it,
before
man.
My battery runs out.
All right, man. What's your percentage at?
A very slim sliver.
All right. Rapid fire is easy, man. It's a question, one answer, and that's it. But right now, at number 1, we got A1 Comics 97. Yo, guys, man, check him out. He has a comic book shop over there in Sacramento. He does live shows on Instagram. We got to support him. He's going, he's struggling, he said, but he's pushing forward. He's got some mystery boxes right now on YouTube. For more details, check it out. And we got Halabeast Collectibles, 369 subscribers. Instagram under the same name. Of course, we can't leave out the Dorkerys at 461 subscribers. IG, same name. The Comic Intellect P, 146 subscribers on IG, the same name. And Northgarden Comics on 50 subscribers. I'm sure all these numbers went up during the show, but on the IG, you can find them under the same name. All right, bro. This is Rapid Fire. Let's get it, man. Your favorite cartoon, bro?
Favorite cartoon all time, The Simpsons. With a bullet. No debate.
Simpsons. Boom. That's out the way.
We're rewatching right now in my house. We're on season 8. We've gone 1 through 8. Probably going to stop around 10. Watching every episode in order. We're on season 8 right now. One of my favorite seasons.
All right. Your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I got to go with First Love. It is not the best movie ever made, but it is my favorite movie. Ladies and gentlemen, Empire Strikes Back, 1980. Give it to me all day. I know it forwards and backwards. Saw it in the spring, summer of 1980 with my dad. 6 weekends in a row.
Whoa. Holy crap, dude. All right. Your quarantine, man. Hairspray or gel?
Have you seen how massive this is becoming? I need a combination of both. I don't know. Anybody who's been with us since the beginning, I've been watching myself on the camera and it is slow. You can see it like slowly deflating and falling apart. I need as much product to keep this thing under wraps as possible. I'm going to go with a combination.
Oh, nice. He's going with the combination of the gel spray or something, or spray gel. All right. I had to throw something funny out there because I love doing stuff like this. You ever farted in the elevator and left, and someone walked in there and they'd be like, whew.
Oh, 100%. Yes, that has definitely happened before. I will tell you this: the most for whatever offense that I have done in the world with flatulence, I have been paid back times 100 being a classroom teacher for the last 20 years. When I used to teach little kids, when I used to teach 4th grade, those kids do not have control over their body. Not only will they cough in your mouth, they will sit right next to you and let one rip like you wouldn't believe. The 8th graders I teach now might be worse because they've got a little bit more control over their bodies. They are masters of the silent but deadly. I cannot tell you, at least once a week, while we were still in the classroom, before we were learning from home, at least once a week, I would be trying to teach about, I don't know, hyperbole, or the greatest middle school novel of all time, The Outsiders. And I'd be walking across the front of the room and I would just walk into the thickest cloud of stank you have ever had violate your nose. And, there's no sound. There's nobody who's going to admit to it. You just have to walk through it and deal with it. And your face goes all gross and you just got to keep teaching. It is awful. So whatever I did, whatever I have ever done in an elevator, the karmic wheel of justice has come around times 10 on me.
Oh, man. I like to leave the number 5 question to the chat. So chat, man, if you got a rapid fire question right now at number 5. What's the question? And let Jason answer it. We'll end the show with that. All right. And don't forget, man, check out the links below, man. And, you know, check out the book, man. Parallel, man. Let's see. This first question that pops up, his battery's running low, man. First question that pops up.
Just any question is fine as long as it's not a fart question. I think we covered that one. We got that one. We nailed it.
Yeah, for sure, man. We got the fart question out the way. 21 people in the house. Let's see, man. I'm waiting for you guys, man. I know someone's got a question in their head. They're just scared probably to ask. If not, then I'll have one for you, brother. Oh, there it is. I was about to ask you something, but Clarence Price coming through with your favorite comic book, sir.
All right, so I'm going to leave this a little bit open because I'm that person who loves to cheat at the top 1 or the top 5 list, right? I like to try to squeeze 30 movies into my top 5 movies. I like to put categories out there. So if I really wanted to cheat, I'd sit there and go, okay, well, can I switch it to like single issues, best run, best, you know what I mean? Like to try to give it that 5 answers. But if you're going to say my favorite comic book of all time, I know I've already mentioned this before, but like I'm gonna go with Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Okay, it's like I talked about loyalty before, right? Like Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie because it's like the first love, right? Like I know the Beatles are the best band ever, but Led Zeppelin is my band because they were my first one, and Sandman is that first comic that I just fell in love with and just consumed on a level that like wasn't just a passing fancy for Batman or Spider-Man. Like it will always be my favorite comic of all time. That 75 issue run for sure.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I had a great time hanging out. Yo,
me too.
Yo, the man. Yo, JD. I'm calling JD, man. JD in the house. Source Point Press, man. We were talking about Parallel. We were talking about a bunch of other things, guys. If you just jumped on the show, make sure you watch the replay, rewind, whatever you want to call it. Hit that like and subscribe to everyone in the house. And yo, Jason, I hope everyone goes check out the links and support you, bro. I know I will.
Thank you so much. It was an honor. Thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to say another quick shout out to Just a Little Podcast Cookie. He said, yo, reach out to Jason, and this happened. It's been a few weeks, and we finally did it, and I'm happy to do it. And I was intimidated when you had the mustache or the goatee, and I was like, damn, this guy is scaring me. But when I saw the IG yesterday, I was like, I'm more relaxed now than ever, man. I was more relaxed. I showed my wife. I was like, yeah, you see this guy here? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, this is the guy now. And I was like, I'm all right. I'm relaxed now. So,
well, thank you so much for the time, and thanks for the great conversation, and thanks for having me on.
All right, hopefully we can do this again, and let's see where Parallel goes and the other projects that on the rise and down the road.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
All right, so stay there. I'm gonna end the show. Yo, guys, be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and yo, stay in the house, man. Wash your hands. And just stay in the house if you don't need to get out the house, and just whip out some hairspray and some gel. You'd be all right. If not that, you could go this route. With that being said, I'm your boy Roderica. Take care. Be safe. See you next time.